In the summer of 1998, baseball stopped being America's pastime. It became America's obsession. Every night, millions of people rushed home to watch two men chase a record that many believed would never fall. McGwire, Sammy Sosa, together. They didn't just break Roger Maris's record, they brought baseball back to life. Stadiums were full again. Kids raced outside pretending to be McGwire or Sosa. SportsCenter led with baseball almost every night. Newspapers couldn't print headlines fast enough. And nearly every night, millions of people stopped what they were doing to watch. It felt perfect, like a Hollywood movie. Heroes, drama, history almost every night. The kind of season baseball couldn't have scripted any better. Maybe too perfect. Because while fans celebrated every home run, almost nobody stopped to ask the question that would eventually haunt the entire season. How had the impossible suddenly become routine? The 1998 home run chase was sold as baseball's greatest comeback story, but years later, it would look more like baseball's greatest illusion. And the most uncomfortable part, almost everyone involved had a reason not to look too closely. To understand why baseball embraced the chase so completely, you have to understand how badly the sport needed it. 4 years earlier, Major League Baseball had stopped. The 1994 players' strike wiped out the end of the season and canceled the World Series. Fans felt betrayed. Players blamed the owners. Owners blamed the players. And when baseball returned, the damage was obvious. Seats were empty. Television ratings had fallen. And the sport that once called itself America's pastime suddenly looked replaceable. Baseball did not just need better marketing, it needed a miracle. And miracles usually come with a price. Then the home runs started coming. In 1997, McGwire hit 58. Ken Griffey Jr. hit 56. Both came close to the number that still seemed untouchable, 61. Roger Maris's single-season record. A record that had survived since 1961. Everyone entered 1998 expecting McGwire or Griffey to challenge it again. But the man who would turn the chase into a national obsession was barely part of the conversation. McGwire did not ease into the 1998 season. On opening day, he hit a grand slam. Ken Griffey Jr. homered that day too. The message was immediate. Maris's record was not safe. By the end of April, McGwire and Griffey each had 11 home runs. Sammy Sosa had 6. At that point, Sosa looked like a supporting character. He had power, but he had never hit more than 40 home runs in a season. He struck out frequently. And outside Chicago, few people viewed him as a serious threat to baseball history. Nobody knew it yet, but baseball had accidentally created the perfect rivalry. One quiet superstar, one charismatic showman. And before long, the entire country would be forced to choose a side. Then, June happened. Sosa entered the month with 13 home runs. 30 days later, he had 33. 20 home runs in 1 month. At the time, no major league player had ever done that before. In the span of a few weeks, Sosa went from an afterthought to the center of the story. And suddenly, McGwire was no longer chasing a dead man's record. He was chasing someone who could answer him in real time. The rivalry worked because McGwire and Sosa could not have looked more different. McGwire was enormous, quiet, and visibly uncomfortable with the attention. Every at-bat felt heavy. Every swing looked violent. He carried himself like a man trying to survive the pressure rather than enjoying it. Sosa was the opposite. He smiled. He sprinted into the outfield. He blew kisses toward the crowd. After home runs, he tapped his chest and pointed toward the sky. McGwire represented brute force. Sosa represented joy. St. Louis had its towering hero. Chicago had its charismatic underdog. And because they played in different cities, fans could choose a side without truly disliking the other man. The chase was not presented as a bitter feud, it was presented as a celebration. But behind that celebration, the numbers were becoming difficult to ignore. By the end of August, McGwire and Sosa were tied at 55. Both were 6 home runs away from Maris, and baseball was making sure the entire country knew it. The chase became a nightly television series. McGwire would hit one, Sosa would answer. Sosa would hit 2. McGwire would respond the following day. They homered on the same day 21 times during the season. News broadcasts interrupted regular programming with updates. Every pitch carried a new question. Who would reach 60 first? Who would tie Maris? Who would pass him? And how far could they go? Baseball had found the miracle it needed. Fans who had stopped watching after the strike were checking box scores again. Children waited near the outfield, hoping to catch history. Reporters followed both players from city to city. The chase did not merely happen, it was packaged, promoted, and sold. And as the crowds grew, there was less and less incentive for anyone to interrupt the story with uncomfortable questions. Because the closer McGwire and Sosa moved toward 61, the more valuable the spectacle became. On September 7th, McGwire hit number 61. Roger Maris's record was tied. One night later, the Cardinals faced the Cubs again at Busch Stadium. The crowd numbered more than 43,000. Sammy Sosa was standing in right field. Steve Traxel was pitching for Chicago. McGwire had already grounded out in his first at-bat. Then he came to the plate in the 4th inning. Traxel threw a first-pitch fastball. McGwire swung. The ball rocketed down the left field line. For a moment, nobody knew whether it would stay fair. Then it disappeared just beyond the wall. Number 62. McGwire nearly missed first base as he rounded the bases. The Maris family watched from the stands. His teammates poured onto the field, and then Sammy Sosa ran in from right field to embrace him. It was one of the most celebrated scenes in baseball history. 2 rivals, 1 record, no bitterness, no controversy. At least, not yet. If the story ended there, this might be remembered as the greatest season baseball ever produced. But it didn't. Baseball remembers moments like number 62 as if they happened in isolation. But the real story is what surrounded them. If you enjoy the hidden history behind baseball's most famous moments, subscribe to Diamond Depths because the record books tell you what happened. They rarely tell you why nobody wanted to question it. Once McGwire passed Maris, the chase should have lost its tension. Instead, it became even more intense. Now McGwire and Sosa were no longer competing against history. They were competing directly against each other. Sosa briefly moved ahead. McGwire responded. By September 25th, both men had 66 home runs. Imagine that. A record that had stood for 37 years had now been exceeded by 2 players in the same season, and neither was finished. McGwire homered twice on September 26th, then twice again on September 27th. He finished the season with 70. Sosa finished with 66. McGwire held the record. Sosa won the National League Most Valuable Player Award. Baseball got the best possible ending. 2 heroes, 2 cities, 1 unforgettable summer. But the very thing that made the story so irresistible also made it fragile. Because the numbers had grown so large that eventually somebody was going to ask how they had become possible. Here's the part nobody remembers. It appeared during the chase itself. In August 1998, a reporter noticed a container of androstenedione inside McGwire's locker. The supplement was legal in Major League Baseball at the time, but it was banned by several other sporting organizations. McGwire acknowledged using it, and for a brief moment, the chase faced a question it had managed to avoid. Was this transformation entirely natural? The story didn't stop the celebration, not even close. Many fans dismissed the concern. Baseball had no meaningful drug testing system for performance-enhancing substances. The league was benefiting from the home runs. The media was benefiting from the audience. And the fans were enjoying the greatest race they had ever seen. Nobody had much incentive to ruin the party. So the chase continued, the home runs continued, and the questions were pushed aside. But they didn't disappear. They were only waiting for the rest of baseball to catch up. Over the following years, this steroid era could no longer be ignored. Players became larger. Home run totals continued rising. In 2001, Barry Bonds hit 73, breaking McGwire's record after only 3 seasons. The impossible had now happened 3 times in 4 years. Then came investigations, books, leaked testing reports, congressional hearings, and slowly, the meaning of 1998 began to change. In 2005, McGwire appeared before Congress. Rather than answer direct questions about his past, he repeatedly said he did not want to discuss it. 5 years later, McGwire admitted using steroids during portions of his career, including the 1998 season. Sosa has denied using performance-enhancing drugs. However, later reporting connected him to a positive result in Major League Baseball's anonymous 2003 survey testing. The home runs remained in the record books, but the innocence surrounding them was gone. Fans didn't simply feel misled by individual players, they felt misled by the entire system that had celebrated the results. It's easy to reduce the story to 2 players and 2 suspicious home run totals. But that explanation is too simple. Baseball wanted power, owners wanted attendance, networks wanted ratings, reporters wanted headlines, fans wanted to believe they were watching history. And the players understood exactly what the sport rewarded. That doesn't remove personal responsibility, but it explains why the problem grew so large. The system was not designed to ask difficult questions. It was designed to keep the spectacle moving. In 1998, 4 players hit at least 50 home runs. 13 hit at least 40. Offense was exploding across the league, yet as long as stadiums were filling and television audiences were watching, baseball had little motivation to examine the environment too aggressively. The league had been searching for a way to recover from the strike. McGwire and Sosa gave it exactly what it needed. The uncomfortable truth is that baseball did not merely fail to stop the steroid era. For years, it benefited from it. So was the 1998 home run chase fake? Not entirely. The pressure was real, the rivalry was real, the excitement was real. McGwire and Sosa still had to stand in the batter's box and perform while millions watched. For one summer, they gave baseball something it had almost lost: relevance. But the version of the story sold to the public was incomplete. The chase was presented as pure, simple, almost innocent. It was none of those things. Maybe the greatest illusion wasn't steroids. Maybe it was believing baseball wanted to know the truth while the home runs kept coming. Roger Maris's 61 had stood for 37 years. McGwire's 70 lasted 3. And today, McGwire and Sosa remain outside the Baseball Hall of Fame. Their home runs still count. The footage still creates goosebumps. But every celebration now carries a shadow. That may be the true legacy of 1998. Baseball got the miracle it desperately needed. And only later did everyone realize how much they had agreed not to see. The question is no longer whether the home run chase saved baseball. It probably did. The real question is whether saving baseball was worth the illusion that came with it. Was the 1998 home run chase still one of baseball's greatest moments? Or was the entire summer permanently ruined by what came afterward? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe to Diamond Depths for more stories from the side of baseball the record books leave out. I'll see you next time.